Hello and welcome to this AQA GCSE Drama revision video. Today this video will focus on section C of the written examination, which is the live theatre review. Make detailed notes. It's absolutely crucial that after you've watched a piece of theatre that you make detailed notes, so you write comments on the things that you saw. And you can do this in lots of different ways. You could revise using flashcards, where you could write maybe a different actor's name or a different aspect of the performance on one side of the flashcard, and you could write some information about that on the other. You could create mind maps, you could create different posters, maybe you want to just write lists within a book, or you can work within a revision booklet if you've got one. But it's really important to make detailed notes on what you saw. And remember, it's about all the different elements of the piece. And this will really help you because when you're writing your response, you'll need to kind of draw back to those specific moments that you can remember sort of vividly. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be looking at a performer response today. So you need to make sure that when you're writing about performers, you're really looking at the vocal and physical skills that they've used and how they've created and developed their character through these different skills. So think about, again, specific moments within the production that you saw and really try and think in detail about how the actor used all of those different skills. So once you've made some notes, you are in a position to attempt answering a question. And it's really important that you actually understand the question being asked. Now, your question will look something like this. You will actually have three different questions that you can respond to. And you'll notice here that question 11 refers to a performer question. So you'll be talking about how an actor or more than one actors use their acting skills to create a character on stage. You'll then have two other questions, and those two other questions will be on an aspect of design, whether it's sound, set, costume, or lighting. So you need to choose the question that you feel you can answer best. And today I'm going to focus on question 11, which is the performer question. Remember, you don't have to answer each of these questions, just one of them. So here is an example performer question that you may choose to answer. Describe how one or more actors in a particular scene or section use their vocal and physical acting skills to create convincing characters. Analyse and evaluate how successful they were in communicating their character to the audience. You should make reference to the use of voice, physical skills, and the actor's use of space. And this is a 32-mark question. The fact it carries 32 marks means that this is likely to be the longest response that you do in terms of the entire GCSE Drama written exam. So there's three really important exam command words in that question. We've got to describe, so that's to set out the characteristics. We've got to analyse, which is to separate information into components and identify their characteristics. So to analyse, it's really important that we describe well so we can analyse that description. And evaluate, so judge from the available evidence. So we need to say whether we think that the performance is good or not good and, providing reasons for our answer. So let's look at how we can take this and structure a response. So when thinking about structuring our response, the first thing we need to do is to decide whether to focus on one actor or more than one actor. Now, I would say if you are writing about a very important character within the play and this character has a real sort of journey and a real narrative arc, then you've probably got enough that you can write about with just one actor. But if you're writing about smaller characters, you may choose to write about maybe two characters or possibly even three. So make that decision before you actually attempt to do your response. And you want to start with an introduction, and in that introduction it's important to state the title of the play that you went to see, where you went to see it, a very, very brief synopsis, I'm talking 1 or 2 sentences, and define your section. The question asks you to talk about a section of the play. So is this a scene? Is it, act 1 or act 2? Or is your section sort of bigger than that? Is it the entire play? Be explicit about which section you are going to be referring to. Then you want to think about having 3 separate moments that you can write about. So 3 big moments where you're going to be able to provide lots of description and lots of analysis. So when you're thinking about making your notes for the production that you saw, you want to think about those moments that really stick in your mind, those moments that really kind of jump out to you, the most memorable moments in the play or the most pivotal moments in the play. And that will help you to write. If you can think about something and if you can kind of see it quite visually in your mind, it will really help you when it comes to your response. And then a good thing to do is to provide a short summary at the end of your response where you can tie up your points and link what you have written to the question. And it's just a nice, neat way to kind of finish off your response. So here's just an idea for a structure. So now with that in mind, with that information, let's look at bringing it all together. I went to see a streamed performance of Small Island performed on the Olivier stage at the National Theatre. The play is set during the Second World War and progresses to 1948, the year the HMT Empire Windrush docked at Tilbury. It tells the stories of 3 characters who begin with isolated narratives that become expertly wound together into one by the end of the play. One of these 3 characters is Queenie Bly, an Englishwoman who, at the beginning of the play's present timeline, is living with her husband in London during the Blitz. Throughout the entire play, the actor, Aisling Loftus, portrayed the character of Queenie convincingly. So in this introduction here, you can see I have referred to the fact that I watched Small Island, that it was streamed and it was originally performed at the National Theatre. There is a sort of brief synopsis of the play without providing too much information. And I have stated that I'm going to be talking about the actor Aisling Loftus, who portrayed the role of Queenie. I've also straight away provided a judgment. I've said that she portrayed the character convincingly. So already there's a little bit of evaluation in there. Right, let's go into the first moment. Upon Bernard's return home from the war in Act 2, Queenie, whom it has been implied is pregnant, is in a state of shock and anger. She has been searching for any sign that Bernard is still alive since the war ended, and such a sudden reappearance is overwhelming. The scene begins with the sound of soft melancholic music as the revolve spins and Bernard is revealed. Upon Queenie's entrance through the door to her lodgings, she spots Bernard and is immediately stunned and dismayed. Portrayed to the audience by Loftus' gulping breaths and stabilising hand which she places on the doorframe as she turns away from her absent husband. This action displayed Queenie's astonishment effectively to the audience, implying that perhaps a panic attack could ensue and inviting them to question that her response may not simply revolve around her shock but also be as the result of something else, her pregnancy. After the revelation of Arthur's death, Queenie says, "I did write to you, lots of times," her voice overwhelmed with emotion. Loftus used a high pitch and wavering tone along with undulating intonation, along with the erratic hand movements and a pained facial expression, her features crumpled with emotion, to express her distress. Loftus' emotional and convincing portrayal of Queenie in the scene greatly contributed to the audience's investment in the play. So here, you can see 3 things are happening. First of all, in the red text, we've got really clear description of what the actor is doing, what Aisling Loftus did in terms of her vocal and her physical skills. And then in the green, we've got the sort of the effect that this created to the audience and how this was her showing and portraying her character of Queenie convincingly. And then anything in blue references the evaluation, so it's the judgment. And from this first moment of the play here, it's clear that we think that she is effective because she is successful in portraying an emotional character, a convincing character to the audience. So now we're going to move on to a second moment of the play. Another scene in which Loftus excellently conveyed Queenie's emotions is when she is asking Gilbert and Hortense to take her baby. Undoubtedly, the decision to give up her baby is heartbreaking for Queenie's character, made only worse by Bernard's insistence that she should not give it away. When saying, "Please, please, oh please, I'm begging you, please, for his sake, take him and look after him. Please, please." Loftus faced out toward the audience, kneeling on the floor, her hands clasped in front of her as she spoke in a raspy tone with trembling clarity thick with emotion. Queenie's desperation was clear, and Loftus explicitly conveyed that, although it left her distraught, she believed that it was the right decision for the benefit of her child. Furthermore, throughout the scene, Loftus successfully depicted Queenie's exasperation at Bernard's misguided attempts at comforting her, through her exaggerated arm extensions and manipulation of the proxemics between the two actors, striding away from Rothney, to imply her inability to be in his presence whilst he is being so inconsiderate. So once again, in this moment here, the red is focusing on this description in terms of describing what the actor is doing. The green is kind of looking at it a little bit more analytically in terms of the effect that it's creating for the audience, and it's kind of describing that as well. And the blue here, we've got the words excellently and successfully, are just providing the judgment. And my judgment is that by doing this, the actor has been successful in creating a convincing character. And now on to the final moment of the response. Within the final scene of the play, Queenie is spotlighted centre stage, cradling her baby Michael. Loftus conveys Queenie's feelings of loss, contradicted with her hope that she is offering her child a better life. Breaking away from staring intently into the eyes of her child, Loftus walked downstage to join Gilbert and Hortense, her gait purposeful, implying that she is worried if she does not commit, she might change her mind. When speaking the line, "There are some words that, once spoken, split the world in two," her voice was clear, her articulation determined, with only a slight pause to indicate her heartbreak, and her gaze lay unfalteringly staring out towards the audience to express her resolve. This steadfast delivery falters, however, when saying her final line of the show, "Will you take my son?" Her pitch raised at the end of the sentence with a voice crack and raspy tone to insinuate the waves of emotion which the character is straining to hold back. This meticulous display of emotion created an elegant and dignified performance that portrayed Queenie as a convincing character while supporting the dramatic effectiveness of the play as a whole. So once again, lots of very clear description in terms of the vocal and physical skills. We've got the intent gaze, we've got the purposeful gait, we've got the clear voice, articulation that's determined, the use of pause, raising pitch. And then we've also got the explanation and the analysis, so what this is implying, what this is showing, what this is indicating, what this is expressing. And then this section here features quite a clear bit of evaluation in terms of the blue at the end. It talks about the actor having a meticulous display of emotion. So think about kind of this evaluation, really weaving throughout the entire response. And then just a nice short summary to tie up the entire response. Overall, Loftus' convincing and detailed performance throughout the entirety of the play, along with her excellence in conveying Queenie's emotions explicitly to the audience, contributed significantly to the effectiveness of the play. So, if you've got time, a short summary at the end, just kind of really tying up the points and really evaluating the response, is just a really nice way to end it. Hopefully that will be of some use to you, and good luck.